Ayanokoji love interest. In the light novel series A Classroom of the Elite, Ayanokoji's feelings towards Kei are complex and not explicitly stated as love. However, there are hints throughout the story that suggest a growing connection and concern for Kei's well-being. The nature of their relationship evolves over time, and today we're going to try to understand did he really loves her. By the way, before we started, I want to say that we are gonna talk about the light novel series, so if you doesn't want spoilers, please leave now before I start with whatever I want. 3, 2, 1. Okay, now let's start. In the light novels, their relationship is much more complex than it is in the anime. Much like the anime, Kei initially did not think much of Kiyotaka. She often looked down on him for being an unremarkable guy, despite not having anything personal against him. After he and Yukimura overhear Manabe and her group bullying her, she starts to hold a dislike towards him, unable to look at him without an angry expression, and was mad when Hirata arranged a meeting with her but brought Kiyotaka with him. It was soon discovered from Hirata that her condescending attitude is a facade she maintains to hide her true self. He explains that Kei has been a victim of bullying for the past 9 years since she was little, and also revealed the fake relationship between her and Hirata. After learning about Kei's past, he set up Manabe and her group to bully Kei in an isolated ward. Then he blackmailed her, but promised that he'll protect her from being bullied in exchange for aiding him in his schemes. Afterward, he seemed to form a very close trusting bond with her, where Kiyotaka is shown to trust her more so than others, even more than Susan. In Volume 6 of the light novel, it appears that she has developed a crush on Kiyotaka. Her crush on him was hinted further in the light novel when she became jealous of Maya's flirtations with Kiyotaka. Kei is one of the few people who refer to Kiyotaka by his first name. She was also the first person to celebrate his birthday, causing him to hesitate in deleting her text messages, which he usually does. He also learned of her birthday and decided to do the same for her. In Volume 7, Kiyotaka decided to cut ties with Kei after he lost a reason to reach A-class after Chabashira turned out to hold no leverage over him. In spite of this, Kiyotaka soon changed his mind and considered Kei as an efficient and valuable pawn after saving her, but in truth, her usefulness or not is a secondary concern for him, as all that's important to him is that she remained to be his, from where we can start talking about developing emotional feelings towards Kei. Despite his view of her at the beginning, Ayanokoji appears to genuinely care for her, as he protected her by violently attacking Kakeru and defeated him with ease through sheer strength and intense fear for threatening her. That was his first facial expression, which indicated genuine anger. His actions surprised Kei as she watched him easily take down the group of C-class students single-handedly. She was shaken by his true abilities but hugged him as she was relieved that he came to her aid, as he mentioned his promise to protect her. In Volume 7.5, Kei realized she is in love with Kiyotaka, and in the epilogue they talk about Karuizawa breaking up with Hirata, which Ayanokoji agrees with since it was the plan from the start. Ayanokoji now states he'll call Karuizawa by her given name, Kei too. He then shows that he was worried about her. Kei was scared to break up as she thought that Ayanokoji might not find her useful anymore, to which Kiyotaka dispelled the thought and said it was for the best. The entire premise of Kiyotaka rejecting Sato was because of Kei. He views her as someone indispensable, someone who wouldn't crumble when faced with overwhelming foes like Hanami, Sakayanagi, Ryumen, Nagumo, the teachers, and most importantly his father. He knew that the only thing that would break her would be him dating another girl, so he chose Kei as the person he will share his joys and sorrows with. She took pride in being the only person who knows Kiyotaka's deepest secret, and in her mind she criticized Sato for being so shallow as to only like him for his running speed. She was a bit crestfallen when she thought Kiyotaka was asking her to call him by his last name, but was shocked instead as he also starts calling her by his first name. Later in Volume 11.5, Kei sees Kiyotaka and Hiyori Shina going on a date and becomes jealous. She is also jealous that Kiyotaka has the same hobby as Hiyori. In the epilogue of Volume 11.5, Kiyotaka declares his love for her and she accepts. He told her that he only hang out with Hiyori to see whether Kei would get jealous. Her emotions were about to burst out before Ayanokoji comforted her by calling out her name, which made her heart skip a beat. In second year Volume 1, Ayanokoji invited Kei to his room to study together with him and made Kei take the test exams Kisi made. Afterward Kei asked Ayanokoji if his academic ability, and Ayanokoji replied saying he can get 400 points, which Kei doubted and asked if he really can do it, and Ayanokoji replied that there hasn't been a problem that he can't solve ever since coming to the school. Later that evening Kei noticed a strand of red hair on the floor and inquired Ayanokoji to who it belonged. Then the doorbell rang and the figure of Amasawa is shown on the monitor, which made Kei grip the strand of hair in her hand. Kei introduces herself to Amasawa and inquired what is her relationship with Ayanokoji. Amasawa told Kei that Ayanokoji is her personal chef. Then Amasawa bent over to look for her lost hair rubber under the bed. Then Amasawa teased Ayanokoji saying stop looking at her, but which made Kei stared at Ayanokoji in anger. In second year volume 2, they almost kissed but were interrupted by a sudden guest. It has become a common practice for him to allow Kei into his room. So much so that they have a protocol such as hiding her shoes, having specific knocks for meetups, and setting up a student table in case of unexpected visitors. He decided to sell his trial cards and give all of his remaining private points to her so that she could save herself in case of expulsion. They are completely comfortable in each other's presence and tend to tease each other whenever the situation allows it. In second year volume 3, he initiated and gave his first kiss to calm her nerves when she was having complicated feelings about him and their future together during the third night of the unmanned island exam. They are at ease with moderate physical contact with one another but still decide to keep their relationship secret. He tasked her to look into someone not yet revealed and was heartened that she was openly jealous of him when he was hanging out with Nanace. In second year volume 4.5, they decided that it was time to reveal their relationship to the public and also decided to do so after the holiday was over. She called him to clarify the rumors circulating around him. He decided not to voice his thoughts in fear that it may cause unnecessary problems and waited for Kei to tell him what she heard before crafting his reply. He reassures her that he won't cheat after she made it clear that she has zero tolerance for it. After clarifying the rumors of Sato and Nanace, he decided not to bring up Ichino's confession to her. Near the end of their call, he said I love you to her for the first time, which caused her to chuckle out loud after she asked if he does. He repeated the phrase once again, though with more reluctance than the first time after she selfishly asked him to do it again. She then said the phrase back to him and announced that she would not let anyone else have him. They then ended the call by wishing each other good night as Kiyotaka that love wasn't a bad feeling. Later on, she went to his room. She was excited yet a little fearful of announcing their relationship to the school. Kiyotaka told her that she does not have to force herself if she didn't want to which she immediately rejected his suggestion, gleefully saying that he would protect her. After sipping his coffee, he surprised her by kissing her on the lips twice without prior warning. He then reflected that he has to work on his timing better. After asking if she was ready, she nodded and they engaged in their first deep kiss, which lasted for more than 10 seconds. They then repeated the kiss as he reflected on how she needed to learn to manage without latching onto a host. When Eri was expelled, Kei was deeply affected by it and asked fretfully whether Kiyotaka would do the same by nominating her if she served no further use to their class. Kiyotaka answers that it wouldn't happen as Eri and her were fundamentally different people and that it's redundant to compare them since the situation would be different. Dissatisfied by his answer, Kei chastised him by saying that the correct answer would be how he would protect her at any and all cost, no matter what. Kiyotaka then admits that he still has much to learn about romance before attempting to quell her anger. Furthermore, he reflects on how this relationship has a limited time frame as they soon have to meet their greatest challenge, which was his father. Regardless, he hopes that he will be able to experience and have many happy moments before that time inevitably comes. We could assume that Ayanokoji gradually begins to develop an emotional attachment to Kei. Because he wants her for himself, no matter how useful she might be, as long as she doesn't get in the way of his own goals. In his eyes, she is a tool like everyone else, but she understands unlike the rest. Kei knows what kind of person Ayanokoji is, yet she falls in love with this side of him, which makes him perceive her as someone he can rely on and trust. It seems that he himself is not fully aware of his feelings and what he feels for her, but it is quite clear that he has sympathy for her. With the following novels, it will become increasingly clear in what direction their relationship is going and whether it will grow to a final stage or if they will be separated by factors unforeseen even by the masterminds Kiyotaka Ayanokoji. Thanks for watching and see you next time.